Hey everybody, Eve here, and today I'm going to be doing a really quick flip through through some of my latest junk journals. I offer a whole variety of junk journals, and they start at $50. However, I do custom orders, and if you have financial issues of any kind, I will work with you. I would like everybody that wants to own a quality journal to have one. So here we go. I'm going to start out with an ultra, I call it my ultra grungy junk journal, because I've thought of people who do a lot of camping, hiking, things outdoors, but like to journal. So I've thought I'm going to create a compact version of a junk journal for that purpose. So I created it out of, this one's created out of heavy chipboard. Most of them will be. However, I can make them out of any type of material that you like, an altered book. You just name it. I'm a little tired today, which isn't anything new. So at any rate, this one has one signature in it, and it's just got a key. And I tried to make everything that I put on the external part of this journal fixed to a certain degree so that it wouldn't rattle and things as you put it in a suitcase or a duffel bag or a backpack or what have you. And it's highly distressed. Of course, what's a junk journal without actual junk? Me and my hang tags that I keep from various types of clothing items. So this one has also hand-dyed or coffee-stained, hand-dyed. It's amazing some of the terminology we use. They're all hand-stained with coffee. So coffee-stained pages. Not all of them are coffee-stained. Many of them will be. A little bit of wax paper. I'm not really going to go through and explain all of that to you. I'm just good at showing the journals, not good at explaining everything I do and showing you everything. It would just take too long. So just suffice it to say I'm going to flip through these relatively fast. But all of my journals, since they are journals, have tons of lined pages. Some stamping, tags, pockets, vintage spools, actual places to put little thingies of your choice, actual cups when I coffee stain the pages. Sometimes I do those in reverse. I actually put a coffee stained mug down on white paper and it leaves a dark stain. If you put the mug on there after you've put the coffee on there and then bake it, it's going to be white. So it's sometimes I think in reverse, that's crazy, I know. So we're going to try to get through this one fast since I've got, 4 more journals to go through. This is just the one of many. And for this particular journal, I do charge a little more, $60, because it is my own design, and I have my own pattern for it. And it's sort of uniquely me, and it is a lot of work. This one is a lot of work. So I base my prices upon the materials involved and my labor. And there's a lot of labor in this little thing. It may be small, it's tiny but powerful. So that is the particular ultra grungy junk journal. That was the very first prototype. It's just a very simple closure. Just wrap it around there, knot it, throw it in a bag, and go. And then this is the second prototype of the same journal, and I titled this one Journey. I sure hope my video camera is able to pick all of this up without getting out of focus and what have you. They have a tendency to do that. This one has a simple hair band, ponytail band closure with the Tim Holtz hitching post. I put a Tim Holtz, I actually don't know what these are called. I would call it a bookmark. It's good for holding titles of books and what have you. I don't know what you call it. But it's basically more of the same. This one has one signature, and it has the faux leather binding. Very flexible. I actually feel like my first prototype of this ultra grungy travel junk journal was a little stiff. So with this particular binding, it's much more flexible. And I just love to put envelopes and tucks and tags, and there's just tons of places to journal. Beautiful papers. These particular papers were from Meg's Garden. I get my papers everywhere and anywhere. I do purchase a lot of digital downloads from different sellers, like Ephemera's Vintage Garden, Meg's Garden. Oh, there's so many. I can't name them all, but I will put a link to many of them under this video. Lots of papers. Pretty papers. Paper's amazing, isn't it? Last page. Okay, down with that one. Now this is another journal that I like to make, and these are made from 9x12 mailing envelopes. This one is really chunky, and it's my Day of the Dead journal. That's a nice key. The seam, it's got the sewn-in signature. One signature. This one I used magnets. It has a magnet closure. Just for some strange reason, I didn't want it to wrap anything around the journal because I didn't want it to have a ribbon across her face. I mean, that's a powerful image, is it not? So I just had to keep it that way. And I decided a magnetic closure. Unfortunately, the magnets I had on hand were very thick, so I used these little strips of images, the Day of the Dead or Zombie Girl images, as to cover the unsightly magnets. I could have used paper, but for some reason, when I take all of the time to distress these mailing envelopes, and they look almost like leather when I'm finished. So I just think that's so pretty. I hate to hide these with paper, but if somebody doesn't like them or you think they're unsightly, I can certainly, put paper there if you like it. Some type of paper. So very powerful images in this particular journal, and lots of pockets. I just put tons of pockets in this one. So we're just going to go through and look at the images real quick. There's lots of places to tuck things, belly bands, a lot of belly bands. That was a really nice piece of wax paper or tracing paper. I actually think it was tracing paper. It could be wax paper, though. They're so similar that you don't actually get to appreciate because I put belly bands on them. But I do things like that. Powerful image, isn't it? Look at that. Woo! I wonder if that messed the camera up. Probably. Knowing me. Perfect example of my coffee stained page. This is what I call my eggshell blue that I like to mix in with my brown. Brown's just kind of boring, so I like to throw a little blue in there, mix it up. So we're going to try to get through this one pretty fast because we still got bunches more to do. We're going to look at, flip through. I get a lot of my images off of Google. This one's actually from a bar that's down the street called the Preacher Bar that has a lot of the Sugar Skull images and Day of the Dead girls, and I'm not that well versed on that particular holiday. Oh well, those are everywhere. But we're just going to look at music paper. God, I can't have a junk journal without music paper somewhere, can you? You've got to keep your hang tags, people. I mean, tell me, that's beautiful. Rock and roll cowgirl. Is that not beautiful? It's heavy, too. Wish I could you know, make a junk journal out of it. If it's big enough, I'd make a junk journal out of it. Not quite big enough for that purpose, but powerful, crazy images. But I thought it was just beautiful. I guess I don't have as many pockets in here as I thought I did. Maybe I just have two. The opening image and the closing image. I'm not really sure. I had to put a doily in there. What's a junk journal without a doily, right? Some tags. And the last page. Down with that one. This one has a little bit of a fussy closure. I don't really care for fussy, but this is also a 9x12 clasp envelope. The only difference is I made sure the pocket, I folded it in so that it doesn't have the overline flap. I didn't round the outer corners. In fact, I used the Tim Holtz book edges, metal book edges, which I think are just gorgeous. Sometimes books just look better when they're shaped like, you know, the old style vintage books. Let's try that. It wasn't too fussy. As you can see, it just goes like that. For some reason, I just thought a fixed clasp in this case looked really, really nice with this particular journal. The vintage images, I thought this was just incredible. And I used some stamping just to make it look even more aged and vintage. And of course, I use Tim Holtz Distress inks in vintage photo primarily, but I do use the walnut. Excuse me. More pretty images. And of course, lots of journaling. You must have lots and lots of places to journal. If you can't journal, I mean, it defeats the purpose of it being a journal of any type, right? People ask me all the time, you know, what are junk journals? Well, that's a very broad question. And it's very, apparently, it's open to various definitions. But my definition of a junk journal is it's anything you want it to be, as long as you put junk in it. Personal junk, private junk, just junk. The more junk you put in them, the better they are. Hang tags, items that you cut out of, you know, magazines, anything you collect or want to keep. Oh, something got on there. That happens. See? Lots of junk. It's even falling out of that. I think that's a pocket. Sometimes I don't even know what I've done there, you know? I forget because there's so much. There's lots of places for junk in all of my journals. You guys, I'm doing this upside down, so forgive me. It's rather foreign to my dyslexic mind, but I am adjusting. So there you go. Last page, and I just realized I don't have my card in here, so I'm going to have to put my card. I always put my card, but since this again is a sample journal, not for sale, if you like it, love it, want it, I do have all of these images on my hard drive, so I will just make another one very similar to it. And but this one, I loved it, and the purple in this one just made me fall in love with the purple all over again. Didn't know it was my favorite color. Now it is. And then last but not least, I still have the tags from the event where I sold a lot of journals at. These are what I call my gift journals. And these are made from composition notebooks. They have 100 lined, could be college lined, could be the wide ruled lined paper in them. I don't use coffee staining, but I do use the Tim Holtz vintage photo to stain the edges. I basically just choose a design I like and run with it, or a theme and run with it. And these are great for gifts because they range from $15 to $20. Come on, that's a price point everybody can afford. And they're loaded, the front, the inside front cover, and the back side back cover will have we'll carry on the theme, and there will always be tags and little pockets and tuck spots and images and more places to journal. So if you have a friend or a loved one or somebody that you want to get a nice gift, quick gift for their birthday, for Christmas, or any occasion, actually. I mean, come on, who doesn't use a journal or lined paper in any instance? And I can assure you, I will always have a bunch of these on hand. I called this one Wild Child. Can any of you figure out why? And I will always, for these, unless it's, well, there's always going to be exceptions to any rule I set, but for the most part, I prefer to use vintage, authentic vintage images that I find on the internet. So, and like I said, 100 line pages. I mean, come on. Nice gift. These sold like hotcakes at my event. So if any of you are interested, under the video, there you will find links to my website and my other contact information. So if you're interested in having any of my journals, just hit me up. And while you're here on my YouTube channel, please be sure to thumbs up and subscribe, comment, and share my videos. And until next time, this is Eve, and may Christ bless each and one of you abundantly. God's blessings to all. Bye-bye.